In the Squid Game Season 2, many contestants vote to continue the game, despite narrowly surviving each round. What motivates them to continue risking their lives? We can actually explain that with math. Hi, I'm Olga Kanj, an assistant professor of finance at University of Waterloo, Faculty of Math, Department of Statistics and Actuarial Science. The prospect theory proposes that people make their choices based on perceived gains and losses relative to a reference point, rather than evaluating their outcomes rationally. People are risk-averse or risk-avoiding for gains, so they would prefer a certain win over a gamble. People are risk-seeking for losses, so they would take bigger risks over a guaranteed loss. People feel more hurt from losing than they feel good from winning, and this is loss aversion. The participants in the Squid Game start the game already heavily indebted, so they are in the losing part of the curve. As the money price grows, something else happens. The reference point shifts to an expected win of that money price. So now the contestants feel like they are losing something that is already theirs, and thus they are willing to take even more risk. As the game, the players fall under many psychological traps, such as the escalation of commitment and the sunk cost fallacy. This is essentially when people continue and justify making bad choices because they have already heavily invested into it. In the game, for the players, quitting each round feels like all of their efforts in risking their lives will be wasted. Also, there is the house money effect. This is when a person wins a prize, it feels like a gain to them. So they are willing to take more risks with that gain. In the game, the players winning each round feels like a gain to them, so they are willing to take additional risks. Also, there is the probability weighting or the misjudging of risks. People tend to overestimate the chances of their gains, and they tend to underestimate their chances of losing. In the case of the game, this is the chances of dying. This is a classic cognitive bias where our brains aren't really great with estimating the probabilities. Also, the players fall under narrow bracket decisions, where people make the choices in the short run rather than the long run. So they make the decisions in isolation, falling into narrow bracketing rather than the optimal aggregation. This is the case where the players' focus is on each round rather than on the overall life or death stakes. At the end of the day, the Squid Game is not just a survival story. It is a lesson on how the human makes irrational decisions under pressure, and even under extreme situations, math can explain the human behavior.